Hello, dear friends. I'm not a prophet, but a journalist who searches exhaustively every day for many news and commentaries to see where the world change is headed. Today, I am pleased to announce that many sources of information are talking about imminent changes. As the song says, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera, what will be, will be. I don't know exactly, nobody knows, but there is a talk of a supernatural event, a media takeover, and a paradigm shift. Opinion piece. Signs of change. Could it happen this month? Freedom is never free. The world is waking up. Iraq could be the trigger. Sierra feels we are coming out of the fog. Many of us are exhausted. People would be shaken to their core. Christmas would not be the same as we know it. Everything would have to come down before prosperity. Everything is in an uproar and makes no sense to most. We are all programmed for immortality according to Adama of Telos. The longer your earthly life lasts, the more wisdom and evolution you will accumulate. Let's start. There are positive indications that the White Hats may be about to take control of the corporate propaganda media, according to Benjamin Fulford, who cannot be believed in his entirety because he sometimes unwittingly introduces disinformation passed on to him by his sources. According to Fulford, the coalition would have scored a major victory last week by supposedly taking de facto control of the UN and the European Central Bank. This is what was behind the visit to Antarctica last week by the head of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, and the head of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde. The two and their teams thought they were traveling to Antarctica's Rothschild Island to get new marching orders. What they didn't know was that the coalition had taken over the island. Schwab's team didn't know what the trip was about. They were following orders, or so they thought. They were given the choice of joining the coalition or being pushed aside. They chose the former. We were told to watch for change when they returned. There would be several important officials who would test positive and go into self-quarantine in the next 2 weeks. We know what that means. There are already indications that Schwab has given new marching orders to that agency. What we are ultimately dealing with is a battle over deciding what we will do as a species in the future to build a better world. This month, contactee Sierra believes the event could happen this month. On December 12th at 12:12, Sierra regressed in New Zealand and began channeling information about the event he believes would happen before December 21st. This is what he wrote, in quotes. People would be shocked to the core. It feels like an earthquake, not necessarily big, but worldwide. It would happen all over the world at the same time. I feel it would be in December. It wouldn't be deaths, but it would be something that would never have happened before. It would be enough to affect all human beings simultaneously. I feel that the tremor would wake up more human beings to question what is happening on Earth, and then wake up even more people. I believe this event would be orchestrated by off-planet beings. It would be part of the grand plan. This would be the first domino, because it would be something that no one can explain, so people would begin to question their reality. They would stop listening to the news because it would be an inexplicable event. Lightworkers just need to be prepared and not be afraid. It's nothing we are afraid of, but other people will be afraid. Lightworkers will know. It's the only thing that can stop on a global level everything related to this nightmare. This would be a start, a destruction. Everything needs reorganization before it can be relocated. There would be collapses in the financial markets. Some people would find that worrying, but we can't go on like this. There is nothing that can stop world leaders, unless there is something outside their physical control. Before peace and prosperity would come, first everything would have to come down, which takes time. Questioning the reality, the narrative, the control. And people would be angry that we have been separated for so long from other people. We have felt for a long time that it's just our country, but because this event affects everybody, people would be very angry because they can see people in other countries. And it would make them realize how we are in our world and not just an island country. The biggest thing we could do about the event is not fear, but to hold the light for everyone else. I feel like the event will be a snap inside people's brains, like a cookie exploding, as if the shake literally put something back in its place, like coming out of a fog. I feel like this shaking happens in a matter of days. It could be the 21st day in 2021. It would be such a change in the timeline that there would be no turning back. It would be a reset. Humans would understand the truth to the level they need to learn it. Some people will have to start at the beginning to understand the truth of the world and what has happened over millions of years. That's why those people are afraid, because it's like a memory that takes hold of everyone. Some human beings, like lightworkers, wouldn't need to remember much, but for others it would be overwhelming. And that's why people might be screaming in the street and other people would be afraid in their own home, because suddenly the world would be different and they would be processing it. But it would be people like us who would understand what's going on that can calm others down, because they would listen to us and follow us. Everything would fade away. It would shake every part of society that has been built to harm human beings. Slowly, everything would fade away like dominoes, in every respect, or like a house of cards. Something would happen before Christmas. Because of the tremor, or whatever happens, any event that happens before Christmas would cause the disappearance of the idea of Christmas. Suddenly, it would be about human beings. People would come together because of what everyone would have gone through before Christmas. But we would be thankful to have each other. Christmas wouldn't be the same as we know it. People would reach out to long-lost people. It would be like a day of reconnection and celebration of being human. I have a feeling that when the earthquake happened, or whatever it was, people would suddenly think about the people they care about. That would happen all over the world. It would be like a near-death experience. Your life flashes before your eyes, and you realize what's important. The message would come at that moment. Everything else would disappear. Jobs, money, nothing would be the matter after this happens. It would be like the feeling of a close call for everyone on the planet. The world is waking up because in opinion of Sierra. The financial system is faltering. The matrix is breaking down. It looks like we are headed for endgame scenarios. Hold the line. We have come this far and we are not going back. There is no turning back. Sleeping humankind was gradually tricked into submission. Many of us are exhausted to the point of overwhelm. It would be wise to step away from the battle from time to time and recharge the batteries. Take more short breaks by going outdoors and breathing fresh air, feeling the sun on your face. Nature is the ideal antidote to stress and fatigue. Remember, you are watching a movie. The storm is already here. These tornadoes are fake. The same images are used on all networks. It comes from old Italian tornado images. The White Hats use drones to cut off communications in these cities and deploy guards to close the perimeters of the borders so no one gets in or out. Congress claims they need to spend more to pay their bills with a debt ceiling near $30 billion. Inflation took almost 40-year highs for the Fed to admit it is not transitory, but their policies continue to drive it higher, while Congress pushes the debt limit, claiming they need to spend more to pay their bills. This could be a sign of the financial reset, with 10 countries shutting down in 10 days. In fact, 10 countries have simulated a 10-day cyber attack on the global financial system, with confidential data emerging on the dark web, along with fake news reports causing chaos in global markets and a bank run. Crypto industry leaders call for regulation to clean up massive fraud. Washington is struggling to figure out how to regulate the digital asset market. Some in Congress say banning cryptocurrencies could help preserve the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency, but there are doubts it will work. Evergrande can't pay its debts. China is struggling to contain the fallout. Trust the plan. A big plan at the end of the way. 2 or 3 hours can change our destiny. This could be a fantastic week, as many confirmations indicate. Stay hopeful. Delays. These have been delayed because it is an all-encompassing complex. They are going back into everyone's bank records to see what fraud has been committed, what people are owed. Every 100 years, there is a change in the world's reserve currency. The clique had wanted to do the Great Reset instead of the World Reset. It wanted to introduce us to special drawing rights. We are about to see quantum system, dramatic events occurring under the radar totally out of public view. There are purple and gold lights in the White House. Christmas would see the opening of the Saint Germain Trust, drawn up in the 17th century. Money set aside to be distributed to mankind at the appropriate time. The goal is not to manufacture rich, but to end scarcity consciousness and enter abundance consciousness. I don't think we will be waiting until after the Christmas season. I think we will be coming in during the Christmas season. I know that goes against European banking because it is notoriously poor at working during the vacations from mid-December through the 1st of January. But I think they will force this based on what we are hearing right now. Updates. Easter Sunday update. Freedom is never free, according to Maya Angelou. I had the best news of tangible evidence that this is close to completion. I won't give details, as we are close and need to let things unfold. All I can say is that it is happening. Get ready. Holy Monday update. I want everyone to have the right expectations as we start a new week. We are seeing evidence that this is ready to happen and could happen this week. As I said, they would like it before Christmas. There is a possibility that it may not happen until the end of the year. And then there is still the possibility that it could go into January. This is a huge undertaking, and it is a huge globally coordinated effort. There are things that can happen that we are not aware of. We are creative beings, so let's focus our energy and intention on making this happen now, this week. We have the power to change the energy. Let's make it happen. Most of us understand that Christmas is as much about the descent of the world into cyclical darkness as it is about the birth of a religious figure that signifies our recognition of the very light that makes the darkness visible. You also understand, of course, that demons and monsters inhabit the darkness, that they are spawned in it. This year, the darkness seemed darker than any darkness we remember, so we can be amazed when the light returns to our world. In time, we will commemorate the monsters, and they will frighten children for generations to come. Financial crisis. End of the road. How money became worthless. Wall Street is being taken over. Europe is collapsing in on itself. All over the world, people are consumed with fear and anger. And one question is on everyone's lips. Is the financial crisis over, or are we headed for economic disaster? End of the Road is a documentary that chronicles the global financial meltdown. As good as gold. Governments around the world continue to print fiat money. The result and effect of this policy is always the same, leading to economic disaster. If central banks own gold, why shouldn't we? Owning gold is real money and gives the holder more options in an economy in crisis. Now more than ever, it is necessary to protect your wealth against the real risk of a looming global inflationary phenomenon. Iraq would be the trigger. Iraq celebrates its 100th anniversary with the withdrawal of the US military. Iraq is expected to announce its sovereignty soon. The trigger for the global financial reset, the Iraqi dinar, had already appreciated in value on Monday, December 6th. The Central Bank of Iraq had accumulated hard currency cash reserves of $64 billion, allowing it to influence exchange rates and provide a stable economic environment. Central Bank of Iraq Governor Mustafa Galeb said that all indicators of the Iraqi banking sector are on the rise, indicating that Iraq has become an attractive scenario for investment. International reserves, deposits and foreign currency bonds are needed to sustain the currency and pay the country's debts. On the other hand, the inflation rate in the major countries of the world is an obsession that pushes them to stimulate interest rate hikes. Humanitarian change by Stefan. I think the coalition is also following a plan, and that is why it is deliberately allowing all these forecasts, conjectures and assessments. Here too, it is testing what information can be given, and for how long until the currency holders are left alone. Here too, the patience of all of us is being tested. And here too, the coalition wants to separate the wheat from the chaff. That is, the humanitarians from those who perhaps have profit motives, who perhaps think only of themselves, their wealth, their well-being. Too often in recent months we have been reminded of the important point of being humanitarians. Staying in the position of observer would be difficult with closer contacts. Keeping calm with friends who move away is a huge feat. But that is the test the coalition has put us to. Around the world, each individual shows who is really a friend and who is not. What if we have formed new communities with people who are just playing at being friends? You don't want to think about scarcity. With what we have ahead of us, many of us still have to deal with this thinking, and some of us don't anymore. But I observe behavior in them that is not humanitarian. Skepticism by Dr. Dina. As we approach the end of the year, the one phrase we keep hearing over and over again is, everyone is ready, everything is in place, we're just waiting for the go signal. There is just one problem. We have been hearing that same phrase for the last 2 or 3 years. I don't know about you, but I've lost a little faith in that statement. In fact, more than a little. In fact, I have filed that phrase in the same category as sooner rather than later, and we are at the window. As much as we continually hear that there have been no delays, the longer it drags on, the less I believe in that statement. Things can only be ready to go for so long before they are no longer ready to go. Does that mean that the plan has changed? That sounds like a little more plausible. For as many decades as this traveling circus has been on the road, it is easy to believe there have been more than a few delays along the way. Such is life. Regardless of how well planned, things rarely, if ever, go as planned. Sitting on the couch, you begin to reflect on this whole financial reset thing, and you can't help but wonder if this is what is happening to those hard-working human beings at the reset headquarters. Perhaps they are experiencing these same failures, continually making plans only to have them fail over and over again. You'd also think they'd have a backup plan too, in case their original clock goes haywire. And what about all the people rumored to be on the standby at some 7,000 clearing houses? They must be pretty tired of pizza leftovers by now. Anyway, you choose to look at it, at least you know there are plenty of others who share your frustration at the cancellation of endless plans. At this point, the only thing you know for sure is that they are saying you are going to have the best Christmas of your life. Hang in there, folks. We are getting closer, which is with each passing day, and before you know it, you will be so thankful you haven't given up hope. Hold on. Puffner said, hang in there, stay cool, do nothing but wait. Watch and make sure you cover all your bases. Stay little and be smart. Do what you have to do. The game is getting wider and more attractive, and the chips are more attractive than they were. It is very important for everyone to be calm and level-headed. Don't go off half-cocked and do nothing. Always think it through and rest assured that we will direct traffic to their ears if they will only listen. Likewise, we are watching, waiting, observing, making assessments, and diligently doing what tasks we can. Everything is at a standstill in some respects and awaiting further orders in others. There is much going on that none of you can know about. If you trust again, you can be assured that progress is occurring. The ships are in port, and the waiting is noisy but anticipated. There are problems that are still heavy and cumbersome. There is still no clear signal from the leaders. No one knows who is going to take the next step. I'm sure you are more than aware that this is a war. Everything is in an uproar and makes no sense to most. You have been in the middle of it, so you know it's about lost freedoms and traitors who sold you out. Everyone wishes you could say the funds are coming in right now, but they are not yet. There are still some issues to resolve before they come into play. With discernment, stay as close as possible to the information that comes out. You have quite a bit of flexibility. We are watching the situation diligently, and we let you know when things break and how it will happen. There is a kind of blackout now, and this is the time when you put your faith in God and nothing else. Immortality. Breaking the Codes of Death by Adama of Telos. You are all great warriors of the light. You are all remnants of great civilization past who are incarnated again in this time to change the course of history. You are here to break the codes of death and aging. You are here to put the belief systems on the new spiral, an upward spiral toward immortality instead of downward toward death. This would be a major breakthrough for humankind, for without this change, humankind on Earth would be doomed to continue the three-dimensional reality. So, the role you play is crucial. As you change your belief system, you change the belief system of the critical mass, which in turn will change the codes of death to reflect the codes of immortality as they were originally intended to function. Our DNA was, and still is, originally intended to create immortality, intended to allow us the choice to determine our lifespan, to determine how long to remain in our current incarnation. We were never intended to live only a few decades and then die in total separation from the Creator. For life is all one, and your life is meant to reflect the wholeness and unity of creation and to be immortal. So the length of your earthly life would spiral down the decades and provide more and more wisdom as it runs the course of time. The longer your earthly lifespan lasts, the more wisdom you will accumulate and the more evolved you will become. Shorter lifespans only limit your evolution and can cause endless incarnations to accomplish the same thing. So we come to you bringing you a great hope, bringing you the knowledge that you are all programmed for immortality, bringing you the knowledge that you are immortal beings playing a great role on Earth and that the planet is playing a great role in the cosmos. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.